So a leader actually is someone that can inspire the people he's speaking to have confidence in himself or herself. And that's what a good leader is. But a great leader is someone that can actually inspire that person to become a leader themselves, actually have a lot of confidence themselves. And Christian consciousness actually is all about us all becoming leaders. So it isn't just about the team. I mean, the team, I really, really rate it because like Radha said, I was doing this 10 years ago, and it takes a lot of blood, sweat and tears to organise a Jammin. Because you just think, you know, I'm going to try and organise a speaker, I'm going to tell him to come at, 7:30, he's going to rock up 8:15, the Prashadam's going to be finished, I'm going to have to give him some maha, and you get awkward speakers, you get low turnouts, you get all kinds of things. And to stay determined is really a wonderful thing. So the sacrifice you're showing, the vision, the direction, all of that, I just think is awesome. And it isn't just the Harry Jammin team, it's also all you guys. I mean, quick show of hands, who here has got some Casey-related service elsewhere? So a few of you. So basically the way this works in Christian consciousness when you come in, you hear about the philosophy, and then you get to do something. You get to do some practical service. But when you get to do that practical service, it has two effects. Firstly, you develop your own CV, and your skill set becomes awesome. I mean, I'm pretty sure every single person that applies to university says that they've been chairman of Panda Center at one point or other. So there's sometimes a little bit of stretching of the truth. Organising trips, I know you've been on the trip team, so the number of 100 youth suddenly becomes 500 youth, doesn't it? Just to make sure it sounds pretty good. But you will learn lots of skills, but you'll also get a real taste, a real experience of doing something out of your own goodness of your own heart to try and help others. And that's what Christian consciousness is all about. So first, before I did anything else, I wanted to really thank all of you for coming along and taking time out on a Friday night to come and learn. What that means is that actually you're spiritually already very mature. You're already looking for deep spiritual insight. You're looking for the truth. And although that you go through life and you see what everyone else sees, you actually believe that there is something better that I can aspire towards that can change my life. So life is actually meant to be a really, really beautiful thing. And it doesn't feel like that sometimes. Sometimes we just wake up in the morning, stick the alarm on snooze, do whatever we have to do, get up, get changed, get to school, get to work, and it can become monotonous. And you see that, I mean, how many people have, I guess everyone, travelled on the underground at some point? I mean, when you look at people on the underground, they are some of the most depressing faces you will ever see. And increasingly what happens is everyone's just on their phone or their tablet and just fully absorbed in what they're doing as a form of escapism. There's actually very, very little interaction. The other day, there was an American tourist on my train, and she started talking to me. And I said, you do know, right, you're in London, like, you're not meant to talk to people in London. In London, everyone just gets on with what they have to do, because there's a real intense energy about the place. So when we go through life, it shouldn't just be like one milestone to another. It should be that every interaction that you have, every experience, is an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to go much deeper. And what we want to do, and you might think this is a little bit whack maybe, I mean, I don't know what your average age is here, but really what you want to do is try and develop your character, and you want to develop universal principles and virtues like integrity, courage, empathy, self-restraint, respect, humility. And if we can develop those things, what happens is you're actually investing in yourself to such a degree that when you want to make a change to the world, you're able to do that. You can actually make a real positive impact. Whereas what I'm finding is most people that I speak to are just very, very superficial. And because of that superficial, because there's no depth, no real understanding of the higher truths, they're just not tapping into who they really are. And if you do tap into who you really are, what you'll find is there's immense potential. Really, really a lot of potential. So I guess, I know this talk is all about Maya, and we're going to talk about that. But first and foremost, I just wanted to say that I'm really impressed that all of you have actually taken that first step to be a leader and to maybe do what's not the norm. Because doing the norm is the easy thing, right? To just follow like sheep and just not really think about life. But the fact that you're already doing that is pretty impressive. So I think you should all give yourselves a round of applause. I realised that one of the virtues was humility. So all the people that didn't clap, well done. You didn't get that, huh? Straight in. It's alright, I'll break it down a little bit slower next time, okay? Oh, you got it? Right, you got it. Delayed reaction. Just then? Oh, it's obvious, you got it. Okay, that's good. Equal humility. Okay. Okay. The other thing is, this month is the month of Kartik. Big month. Big month. And it's a month where you can make some serious spiritual advancement. It said that everything that you do spiritually is multiplied by 1,000. That is some serious return. I mean, people think that you're going to make money out of property, out of shares, the market, and you will do those things. But if you invest spiritually, if you just do a couple of things in this month, basically it goes into your account and it never gets lost. It's just multiplied by 1,000. So it's a really special month to make spiritual advancement. So in today's session, I wanted to cover some pretty big questions. It isn't who's going to win The Apprentice this year, although I don't know who that's going to be, but we did have a devotee that made it to number 72, and he said that he met the final. Sorry, I'm completely going off on a tangent here, these aren't in my notes. But he made it to number 72 out of the final 8 or 10, I don't know how many he finally selected. But he said the guys were really cool, and the girls were a bit bitchy. That was his analysis. So I know I can't say that, but that's what he said. I'm just repeating it. I don't believe it. I'm just telling you what he said. So when you watch it, check it out and let me know if you agree. Sorry, I completely went off on one there. I don't even know why I'm talking about that. Was there any train of thought there? Maya. Who said Maya? There we go. Round of applause. Smart man. So Maya's an energy that can make you really lose focus on what's really important. You think that you're doing something in life, and all of a sudden your mind just flips, and all of a sudden you're in a place that you didn't think you would be. So the things I want to cover, the things I really do want to cover, is who I am, where am I, and what should I do now I'm here? So they're the really big questions. And I know that you've had a couple of sessions so far. You had the first session with Chili Shakti on happiness. A round of applause if you were there. And not that many people were there. How about if it was good? So what you're telling me, it wasn't really that good a jamming. It was good, yeah? You're just feeling a little bit shy? A little bit shy, good jamming? Okay, who was here? Who was there for that jamming? Okay. Does anyone who's put their hand up not like to be picked on? Okay, now they're trying to work out the reverse psychology. What's going on here? Is he going to pick on me or not? So I am going to pick on you. And I'm going to start with, so the guy just behind Sham.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, see.
The guy with the funky hair. Yeah, you. So can you tell me one thing about that jamming?
One thing.
Yeah, that you remember on the spot.
Materialism.
Nice. Was that actually in the jamming, or was that just a pun and you just think, that's going to be in every talk? It was there, yeah? Yeah. Okay. Anyone else that was there at that jamming that would like to share one thing they remember? Or how about one thing that inspired them? And I know it was a while ago. If you can't remember, that's fine. No? Alright, so that was number one. Number two was Shiv? Shiv Datani. Okay, who was there for that? Alright. Do you mind if I ask you? Can you remember anything? Yeah. What's going on? What's everyone saying? Your name?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Frank.
Frank. Frank, good name, man. Good name.
So he was talking about.
Hey. Frank's talking.
She was talking about karma and talking about how how what you've done in like your previous lives, how what you've done comes, how the effects come in each life that you live, and how what maybe you perceive as something negative can be positive. Like for example, a businessman got coffee poured on his shirt and he went home to get changed, and that actually prevented him from being a victim in the 9/11 bombings. So we were just talking about how what maybe you perceive one way may actually be the opposite way. I saw a great video of this guy explaining karma.
Brilliant. Round of applause. That was pretty impressive. That was really good. I was certainly better than the first attempt. No, you're on point. You're on point. It was about materialism can't make you happy. Yeah. So here we are today, the third talk, and it is all about Maya, that which is not, which is the official definition or illusion. But before we do that, since I've asked some big questions, just generally, I just want to know what you guys think about the world where we're at today. So I'd like you to break into groups, maybe of 3, and just discuss these 2 things. 5 things that's really great about the world, and 5 things that it really sucks. just not good at all. So if you can break in, that'll be. It's not a shouting out exercise. It's a group work exercise. But afterwards, you will get to shout out. So store it all in there. Hold it as long as you can, and then you'll have your opportunity. So yeah, just break into 3s. That'd be great. Thanks for you guys really getting into it. Good discussion. Yes. All right. So now's the time to start sharing. So I'll put up here the good things. I'll put here the crap things. So can we have a good thing from the ladies' side first? One good thing.
We talk about how nice places are really nice places.
Would you like to expand?
It's like if there wasn't people, then it'd actually be quite beautiful. Like there's places like.
So the natural beauty of the world? Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Good.
One good thing from the guys. Okay, so something just went down there that I completely missed. Was it again another name calling thing? Paneer. Paneer. No, but you said it like that, paneer. Oh, just paneer. Okay. Cows? Religion? Okay.
The Veda course that's on as a manna on Sundays.
You guys are so sad. Losers. Alright. Can we have some crap things, please? Racism. Thank you. Finally, someone, you've got a serious thinker here. Thank you. Racism.
When you say it,
Oh.
you came over here.
This is Kali Yuga. They say in Kali Yuga, there's 4 legs of Dharma. And in this case, there's only 3 to start with, and one of them's falling off. There goes the compassion. But there's always a devotee to try and save the day. And then there's another devotee. There's another humble one. Yeah? Please take a bow, Sean. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so you got to crack things. All right. Don't look so happy about it. Hunger and poverty. Sick. Yeah. Pollution, yes. We're struggling here with a good list here. Animal cruelty, yeah. Arrogance. War, yeah, definitely. It's pretty crap, isn't it? War. Segregation. That's a big word. You're really testing me now. Give me an S. Okay. Ladies? Terrorism, yeah. Yeah, we've got racism, but I'll put in the Equality Act, 2010. Yeah, discrimination, definitely. Oh, he's got a good thing. Is it a good thing? It's a big political debate about it at the moment, but I'm going to put it as a good thing. I think it's a wonderful thing. But yeah, there is a debate at the moment. Because basically, people are using, they're basically bombing places and then using the Human Rights Act to say that it's their human rights. But then what about the rights of the victim? Ooh. Discuss. Okay.
Friendship.
Good thing, friendship. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. That's you, sorry. I don't know your name.
I'm not a cat guy.
Yeah, did you have your hand up? Or was it a stretch? Family. Good, yeah? Family? That's awesome. Which one? Good or bad? That's good. Absolutely. But I'll put that in square brackets because it does depend what we're learning. But knowledge generally, yeah. Technology. Now you're starting to think. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Back in the game. I don't know why it's a bad thing. He said it's in between, so I just went with him.
It can be bad because prevent social interaction.
Yeah. It can be good.
It's a bit like a knife used by a surgeon and used by. No, you don't like it. Okay. All right. Yeah. Different cultures. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Okay. All right. Just a few more from the ladies would be good. I think we've had 3 contributions so far. Yes? Yeah? It's awesome. I'm a believer. Anything? I don't know, but can I just say, given that the question was the top 5 things that are bad about the world and the top 5 things that are good, I'm not sure Russell Brand should really even come in the category. I don't even know who that is. Get that man some water. He looks like he's hyperventilating. You're right, I guess. Politicians of the world. Here we go. So the top good things you've come up with. Natural beauty. Very good. Paneer. Cows, religion, the Veda course. Self-promotion there. Wi-Fi, which I guess comes under technology. Oh, I see you're in a woo-woo mood. Okay, so human rights. Alright, so basically you haven't come up with a very good list. But the crap list actually is realistically actually outweighs the good list, which is slightly depressing. So discrimination, hunger, poverty, pollution, disease, terrorism, war, arrogance, animal cruelty. There's some serious issues with the world, but there are some really nice things. Coming back to what this jamming is all about in Maya, and trying to understand what this world actually is. So we first need to understand who we really are. And you may have come across this quote by a famous French philosopher, and it says, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience, we are spiritual beings having a human experience." And I think it's a really nice quote that encapsulates almost immediately this misconception. Because what we all think of ourselves, we all just think of ourselves, yeah, I'm basically this body, but I like spirituality. But we have to flip that over, and we have to realize, actually no, I'm a spirit soul, and I'm actually in a human body. And what the Bhagavad Gita and the ancient Vedic wisdom explains is this spirit soul is the living force, it's the driver, it's the animator, it's the consciousness. It is the force that's actually within us, it's the real living entity. But that living entity, although it's eternal, full of knowledge, and blissful, and always pleasure-seeking, in this world, our real identity is covered, first by a subtle body that is made up of the mind, the intelligence, and the false ego, and secondly, by a gross body that all of us have and see, i.e. our working senses. So I'm just gonna try something out just for a minute. This might be, I don't know how you guys will react to this because you're in a bit of a funny mood, but we'll try it anyway. So if you could cross your legs, straighten your back. Yeah. Okay, this is the big bit. Don't get scared. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Yeah. Okay, so close your eyes. And just breathe in and out 3 times. Big breaths. Okay, so with your eyes closed, I just want you to try and relax every single part of your body, starting from the top of your head, and just feel like everything relaxed. So the top of your head, the back of your neck, your shoulders, your spine, your lower back, your thighs, your calves, your feet. And just take a moment to just listen to the silence. So all of a sudden, you can open your eyes now. All of a sudden, just with that very, very simple exercise, you become far more aware and conscious of where you actually are. And when you're meditating on all the different parts of your body, you realize that they are actually parts of your body. That this is my arm, this is my ear, this is my head, this is my leg, but it's not me. It's not the real me. And there's plenty of evidence of the spirit soul. There's obviously past life experiences that people have. There's also near-death experiences. So there's many examples of people that they've been on the operating table, and you know, they have a moment where they actually, the body shuts down. So medically, they're dead. Everything's shut down. Yet, after those 3 minutes, they suddenly realized that I was able to observe everything. So that spirit soul, that consciousness, is something that's very, very different from us. And we know that we're not this body, because this body is something that can be changed constantly. You know, you can change your sex, you can change your hairdo, you can change pretty much anything about your body. But that doesn't change who you are. And that's talking about doing, you know, cosmetic surgery or something. But what to speak of not doing anything, just naturally, as our body evolves from, you know, from child to old age. And it's a really simple example that's given time and time again. And how many of you guys have heard that before? That actually look how the body changes every 7 years. Just raise your hand if you've heard that before. Okay, another question. How many people have heard that you're not this body? You're the spirit soul? Okay, so I'm guessing pretty much everyone, anytime you come to a KC program, they emphasize this same point. You're not the body, you're the spirit soul within. But how many of you have actually realized that? How many of you live your day-to-day life on the basis of your real identity? Very few people. And the reason for that is Maya. Maya is one of Krishna's energies. And her sole function, actually, she has two roles. Firstly is to cover us, and secondly to kick us. And what she does is she actually makes us identify with the body. And we've all done it. So our consciousness, our spirit soul, can very easily identify with things that it's not. And I'll give you an example. If you're acting, and you really get into role play, everyone's done some acting here, you can become so absorbed in that role. Say you're a king or a queen. You know, you've got an accent, you're from a particular country, you know, you're really going for it. If you do it long enough, you're going to start thinking, I'm actually that person. You're going to start identifying with that role. And it seems like a crazy thing, but it does happen. And similarly, if you're watching a film, if you're sitting in the comfort of your sofa and you're watching a horror film, if something happens on the screen, i.e. this glass screen that's in front of you, you shouldn't be going, oh. But the reason you do is because you absorb yourself in that consciousness. So there's a real difference between who you actually are and where your mind can take you. And all of that is because of Maya. So what does it mean to actually try and live in this world by spiritual principles? Well, first and foremost, almost every talk that you come to, almost every talk, they'll talk about the pursuit of happiness, right? It's like the #1 talk. And the difficulty is that we hear this stuff time and time again. Someone comes up here and they say, you know what, material things, they won't make you happy. And you sit there and you take it into some degree, but then actually your experience is something very different. Like someone say to you, name, fame, adoration, having money is not going to make you happy. Sounds pretty good to me. Because it does. You know, it does. The fact is, if you're in the limelight and someone's like glorifying you, you know, yeah, you're the man, or you're the lady, you're just the best, you know, you're wonderful. You know, it feels good. It really does. If you've got money, if you've got bling, you can do some serious things. So, you know, if people say to you, well, you know, don't worry about work, don't worry about material advancement, you know, it's not going to make you happy. Our real experience on the ground is something very different. And that's the truth. I'm telling you as it is. I'm just You know, I'm not sugarcoating it for you. I'm not giving you like a devotee response. The fact is, when you try different things out, different types of sense gratification, there is going to be some pleasure there. But what the Vedas explain is that that is actually Maya's trick. Because the experience that you're having is actually very cheap, very superficial, and it won't last. It will be temporary, it will be flickering. That is what the Vedas say. That is what they explain to us. So they say if you try and aspire after these things, it's like they say money is honey, right? But the problem is, if you go for money and the honey, there's normally a bee ready to sting you. And that is the thing. Like and if you're looking for proof, like genuine proof, that material things will not satisfy the heart, will not satisfy the need of the spirit soul. Ultimately, all you can do is try it. You know, you can try and make it to the best of your ability and just try and enjoy materially, enjoy materially, enjoy materially. But what you'll find is, that is what 99% of the world is trying to do. And 99% of the world is not very happy. That training example I'm giving you, but it isn't just the people that are doing the 9 to 5. I'm talking about the rock stars. I'm talking about the people that have everything materially, yet are going into clinics for drug addictions, right? I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. What I like about Krishna consciousness is that if someone gives you, like the Vedas, they don't really give you do's and don'ts. What they do is, they explain a whole range of circumstances, and they say, ultimately it's up to you to go out and try and work out what you want to do with it. But my experience of reading the paper every day, the Metro and the Evening Standard, is that the world is a lot like this. And that's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. He says the material world is a place of suffering. But one of the reasons it's a place of suffering is because all of us have this conditioning, this covering over our true self. And that covering is like a pollution, a contamination of lust, greed, and anger. And what these things do, these are urges. And a lot of these issues that we see are actually because of the way that humans are acting. But the reason they're acting like that is actually quite simple. Because they're pleasure-seeking by nature. We're just desperate to be happy. And it's our constitutional right to be happy. You know, and this is one thing I always say, almost every single talk that I give, because it's something that someone said to me and has always stuck with me. They say, if you're practicing Krishna consciousness and you're not happy, you're doing something wrong. And the fact is, because our constitutional position as Sat Chit Ananda, you know, full of bliss, eternal, full of knowledge, when we connect to our supreme source, when we connect to Krishna, the experience is something very, very different. So let's break it down and let's try and understand. When I said who we are and I talked about the subtle body, what did I say were the 3 elements that make up the subtle body? Can anyone remember? The subtle body, 3 elements.
Mind, intelligence, and thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. So the function of the mind, has everyone here got a mind? Yeah. Last time I checked. Everyone got an intelligence? Debatable. The function of the mind is to accept and reject. The function of the intelligence is to discriminate and work out, is this good for me? So say you're studying, everyone here has studied, right? How many of you have studied at the beginning of the year, but then lost focus, and then had to cram just before the exams? Raise your hands. Mine's like that. It is not just you, everyone is like that. You know, because the mind doesn't actually discriminate what's good and what's bad. Equally, you know, you've eaten something. You know when you get to that point where you just know, I really ought to stop eating now. Like my stomach's starting to hurt, and I really need to stop. And not just that, I can actually feel the calories. You know, to the point that next time I do a talk, I'm going to have to wear a jumper to hide that layer of fat. I'm not talking about myself. But the mind is constantly doing that. So the thing that's meant to check the mind is the intelligence. The intelligence is meant to be the thing that says to your mind, do you know what, that's a really stupid choice. And I'll tell you why. Because you need to do this, this, this. So the mind says, I really want to sleep in. I don't want to go to school, I don't want to go to university. The intelligence says, you can sleep in, but what's going to happen? You're going to miss that seminar, you're then going to have to try and read up, and it's going to screw you over ultimately. You think, yes, thank you intelligence, thanks for putting me in the right place. And clearly you get the people that have very weak intelligences, and they can't discriminate. So they just can't do anything. So it's said between B, C, and D. So B is birth, D is death, the C stands for choice. So all of us have choice at all time. We have a particular psychophysical nature based on our hereditary, based on our early associations, so our parenting, and then based on our friends. So we are who we are. We can't try and be someone else. We are who we are. You know, good, bad, ugly, we are who we are. And you might wish, you know, I really wish I was a bit taller, but you know, it's not going to happen. We are who we are. But we have a choice as to the decisions that we make, and they'll determine our future. So what the Gita does, it gives you an example of how the mind and the intelligence works, and it gives the example of a chariot. So the senses are like the horses. Now the senses are mad. When I'm talking about the senses, I'm talking about the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, just generally. They're mad, you know? They're just like, I want to see that, I want to hear that, I just want to do it, you know? The senses are just all over the place. Crazy senses. That's my crazy noise, by the way. So the senses are just going mad like horses. And the thing that's meant to control the senses is the mind that accepts and rejects. But in this world today, the mind is mad. I mean, you know, that's why there's a big thing about mindfulness. Have you heard about mindfulness? It's a big thing that corporations are teaching people. They're saying, you know, you really need to make sure that your mind is in check, that, you know, you meditate regularly. Because what people are working out is people are going nuts. I mean, straight up, you know, they're working ridiculous hours, they've got these unlimited desires, they're not getting fulfilled, they're getting frustrated, and this is what's happening. The mind is just going mad. So the thing that's meant to check the mind is the intelligence. And the intelligence is like the person, the chariot driver. So the reins is the mind, the chariot driver is the intelligence. So if you can control the mind, and you can control the senses, it means you can actually control where your chariot's going, where your vehicle's going. And the passenger is, of course, the soul. So that's the example the Gita gives. But a modern day example would be in a car. You know, so in a car, you've got the driver who just cannot control the car. So it's going to be mad. You know, if you've got a driver who's basically falling asleep, your intelligence is falling asleep, isn't controlling the car, then it's going to end up in complete disaster. Another example that's given is that the mind is like a child. Anyone got any little brothers or sisters, or can remember their little brothers and sisters being real brats? Yeah, little brothers and sisters, real brats, aren't they? I've got my own little brat, not a brother or sister, but a little kid. I know he is a brat, and you know, maybe it's hereditary, maybe he's linked to me, I don't know, but he's a brat. And he's just like, I want it my way. He's 3.5 years old, he thinks he's a big, big man, and he comes up to me, and he's like, Papa, I'm doing it my way. And I was like, you're a little boy, sit back down. Who do you think you are? And he's like, no, I'm doing it. And he just starts crying like a little lunatic, and he knows that I'm going to give in eventually, because he just keeps crying. So like a kid who says, I want to play with a knife, I want to play with a knife, I want to play with a knife. And the intelligence is like a parent saying, okay, I know you want to play with a knife, but it's really not a good idea. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. The kid's like, I want to play with a knife, and what? And the parent's like, listen son, don't make me slap you. And then the kid's like, you're not allowed to slap me. And so this debate is going this debate is going on between the intelligence and the mind constantly. And the mind is and the kid is like that, you know, giving. And then ultimately you need super nanny, right? So you need that parent who's actually meant to be controlling the kid, but instead the kid is controlling the parent. And we've all seen it. You just need to go break cross, and you just see these little brats. I want it. And the parents just give in, you know. They're just like, I can't take it anymore. You know, no. But they have good intentions. So it's like that with the intelligence and the mind. The intelligence is desperately trying to control the mind. But the mind is just freaking out. It's just like, I want. And the senses are like, I want. And this is where you have to strengthen your intelligence, otherwise you're going to be a failure. And that's materially and spiritually. You have to be strong enough to control your mind. And that is the first principle of Krishna consciousness. But if it was just the intelligence and the mind, that would be fine. But Maya, she's so smart. She knows you inside out. So she figures out exactly how I'm going to get this guy to fall down. And she weaves in this master plan. So normally what happens is, you have an experience. Say you get drunk. I'm not recommending it in any way. And I'm sure none of you have ever got drunk. Hare Krishna. Let's just move on. I certainly have, before I came to Krishna consciousness. And it wasn't a good experience. I ended up in hospital having my stomach pumped out. Hare Krishna, indeed. So you would think that would then be enough of an experience for me, you know, to think, you know what, this whole alcohol thing is just dumb. You know, this really isn't working for me. But of course, it doesn't do that. What it says is, yeah, but you know what, that was a big night. That was a special night. And actually, you know, going to the hospital was all part of the experience. You know, it was actually quite nice. You know, you bonded with your mate that day when you're waiting in A&E for 8 hours, you know, waiting for you to sober up. You know, you're so much closer as a result. And Maya's like that. Whatever intelligence you try and strengthen with spiritual knowledge, she will try and cut you down and try and make you understand that actually it's all right, it's all good. And she'll promise the same sense gratification again and again and again, but just repackaged. That's why they say it's chewing the chewed. Because you try it, you've tried it before, it is dry, but you still try it again. You think, next time it'll be better. And that is how smart Maya is. So the question is, why is she doing this? Because as I said, Maya is actually a servant of Krishna, and she's actually performing a role. Well, basically, A, she's testing your sincerity, whether you really want to go back to Godhead, back to the spiritual world where we originally came from. And if not, if you want to continue, because that's why we're here in the first place, if you want to continue to try and be the controller, you want to try and be the big man, you want to be the Lord of the universe, then she's going to continue letting you try and do that. But all that's going to happen is, you're going to continue to get frustrated. So what Krishna consciousness teaches is, you've got an opportunity to strengthen your intelligence so you can control your mind. And the way you do that, you actually raise up through the modes. See, there's 3 modes of material nature: ignorance, passion, and goodness. And most of you are familiar with that. Ignorance is just like, you know, lazy, lethargic, good for nothing, just useless people. And they're the people that are governed by ignorance. And I'm sure you all know them. They're just not productive. They just don't do anything with their life. They're just losers. You know, they just really are. They're just people that they just can't do anything. And then you've got the people in the mode of passion. They're just running around like crazy headless chickens. Like, show me the money. And they're just desperate, just trying to attain sense gratification again and again and again. And then you've got people in the mode of goodness that are very calm, real critical, creative thinkers, that are able to think outside the box and actually achieve something with their life. And the example of giving, if you're trying to work out how this would work, imagine a fire in a building. A guy in the mode of ignorance is basically just going to sit there, just like, oh, there's a fire. I should do something. I don't know what to do. Maybe I should call my mum. Like, I just don't know what to do. Basically, he's kind of crazy, he's lazy, he's just useless. The guy in the mode of passion is just going to run around like a maniac. Fire! Just like running around, like, you know, bumping into people. Just like, there's a fire, I need to do something. Just going to headbutt someone. Just like crazy, intense energy. I need to get out of my way, there's a fire! And the guy in the mode of goodness is like, okay, so there's a fire, we need to locate where the fire extinguisher is, we need to work out what the next step is to sort our lives out. And you will see people in these different modes. I'm sure you will know people that are influenced in this different way, because that is our makeup, and that is the material energy. She affects us in such a way that if we make the wrong choices, we will become degraded. If we make the right choices, we actually have a real opportunity to elevate our consciousness and take the next step. So I'm going to conclude on something that you're all very, very familiar with, and that is, how are we actually going to purify our heart? What's the easiest way? And you all know the answer to this. You know that it's the Maha Mantra, you know it's this holy name, this spiritual sound vibration. But what I wanted to say to you is, this word mantra that we hear it all over the place. Like I'm a keen football fan, so they're always talking about like football mantras. You know, you go in the terraces, they're chanting mantras. You know, just like, I have to bleep out what they're actually saying because it's generally not very good. But that's what they're doing. Or you hear about mantra, if someone says something again and again and again, oh, that's his mantra. But a mantra is something very different. A real mantra is something that, you know, that is a spiritual sound vibration that is like a key that will open up access to something sublime, something very, very powerful. Because the heart is covered by dirt. And it's described in the Gita that the mirror is covered by dust. And you have to clean the mirror, clean the dust, so that you can see your true self. But when you see your true self, I'm telling you, that is a beautiful true self. A lot more beautiful than what all of you look at when you look in the mirror today. Oh, that's deep. That is deep. But don't take it personally because you're the spirit soul, not the body. So relax. Hey, saved it. Okay. So please do try in this month of Kartik to take up some spiritual process. Like I said, you can take up service, you can take up some chanting. We're going to try it now. But it really, really is an amazing opportunity to not just do what everyone else is doing. I'll leave you with one example that might summarize the whole thing for you. If we have a desire to enjoy, Krishna gives us a body accordingly. So if we want a desire, we think that happiness is absolute, but it's not, it's relative, depending on the modes that we're in. So for example, a hog or a pig, its favourite food is stool. And it just loves it. There is nothing better than rolling around some nice juicy stool. And that's what the hog's all about. But it's got a body accordingly. Right? And still, you will see some human beings, you might think, well, that's just a hog. But you see human beings that get pleasure from, like, slitting their wrists, or like self-harm, or doing some really crazy things that to all of us just seems like, that is completely whack. How is it possible that they're actually getting pleasure from this? Or you turn on the news about ISIS, or you turn on the news about any of these crazy things that are going on in the world. These people are getting some pleasure out of doing the most disgusting, horrendous acts. Why is that? Because they're so degraded. Their spirit soul is so covered by this pollution that whilst in the name of religion they're saying all kinds of things, actually all they're doing is making choices so that in their next life they're setting themselves up for suffering. So all of you guys are really smart. You know, you genuinely are, because I know for you to be here and to be already at this age thinking about these deeper things is an amazing, amazing thing. Because I try and speak to people at work about these things, and they just don't get it. You know, it doesn't matter how much they earn. They might be making over 100K. They might be materially really, really well off, but they just don't get it. So the fact that you guys have got it already at this age means that you have an opportunity at this time to really mold your life so that you can leave a legacy, a really positive, lasting contribution to this world. And ultimately you will then become the leaders of society. And you might, I don't know where you guys are at. Some of you might be thinking, you know what, I don't really want to be a leader. Like, I just want to do what I want to do. And that's completely fine. Do it. Just do it, and then just come back to me in 5 years' time and just say, you know what, Nanda, you were right. Because I'm just saving a whole load of time, not based on my experience, but based on the experience of so many people, and based on this Vedic ancient scripture. This scripture's there, it's telling us as it is, but we're so foolish, we're so stuck up, we're just like, let me try, just like that kid, you know? Just like that bratty little kid, let me try. So sometimes you have to get burnt, and then when you get burnt by the fire, the smart thing to do is not to stick your hand in the fire again. But if your intelligence is weak, and you let Maya control you, expect to get burnt. On that bombshell, Hare Krishna.